Okay, Daf Lamed Tet Amud Aleph, approximately 10 lines from the top by the Gemara. So the Gemara asked a question on the Mishnah. It pointed out two halachot that are the exact opposites. Hagufa Kasha. Amar, the first halacha said, Shosh Hashu, Shenagah Shosh Pikeh, of any of these people, ox, gourd, a regular person, Patur. The owner is Patur. Alma, in Ma'amdina Patur, which means that there is no appointment of an agent or an advisor or a representative to represent the Yitomim to pay the people. However, the second part, Betin does appoint someone, and they court accept testimony via this representative. Therefore, we do see that you make them pay. So what's going on? Either the patur and there's no representative, or you're chayav and there is a representative. Second part means as follows: if the ox of this hashu becomes mu'ad, therefore you have to make an agent to watch over the oxen, and therefore they have to accept testimony of the oxen in front of the agent, and therefore make the oxen mu'ad. So that if it gores again, you pay from top property. So it sounds like you don't pay tam. Only after it gores multiple times to make it a muad, they have to hire someone. Now, me'aliyat man, who pays this property? Right, so similarly, you might think it's automatically Yotomim. That's so pashut. The Yotomim pay it because they're ox. No, the agent has to pay it. It's his problem. Magar says, 1 second. Does Yochanan really hold that you could find the apotropos, the agent? Do not involve in collecting debts from the Yochanan who said you pay from the Yitmim. The orphans pay. He's like, 1 second, you can never collect debts from orphans unless interest payments are consuming it. Or right, so for example, say the father before he died took a massive loan from a bank, and it's during the current climate of crazy high interest rates. So now you say, oh, you can't pay debts with the interest for the Yotomim. However, the only time you're able to is if there's an interest that's eating the cash of the Yotomim. Then you can pay it. Over here, however, there's not. Either for a rebate case or you can pay the ketubah of the wife because she needs it to survive. So we see that we do not use the Yotomim's money to pay anything else. So how does Rabbi Yochanan hold that? So Gemara says no, epoch, really it's the opposite. Rabbi Yochanan says that you use the agent's money. Rabbi Yochanan pay it. Okay, we have to switch it. Just because you had a contradiction between two halachot of Rabbi Yochanan, right? One of the two mishnayot. Now we have to make Rabbi Yosef Hanina have a problem. We know Rabbi Yosef Hanina was a judge. And he would be in the depths of law. Meaning, we're saying that in general, when you have a dayan, or like nowadays, like who's a good person to get into technical halachot? Lawyers or judges, technical law. Right? So they're saying that since he's a judge, he knew exact halachot to the T. So what do you mean? Oh, it was a mistake. Rabbi Yochanan would say that no, you can't make that. He would not make the Yitzmin pay. You don't switch it. So now how do we answer the stira between Rabbi Yochanan? Umazik shani. In the case of damaging is more machmir, and therefore Yitzmin have to pay. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan says you have to pay from the Yitzmin, because I don't want to take it from the agent. Why? Because what would happen if you make the apotropos pay? People will refuse and not want to become this guy. Right? They're practically volunteering. Right? They don't want this headache. Oh, I have to watch over their stuff to do Bedin a favor, and now if their ox damages, I have to pay for it. Hey, just leave me out of it. Where it says no, the agent pays it, and then the Yitmim pay them back when they get older. Okay. Okay, whether or not in the case of Tam you can require an agent to collect the payment, right? So now
was that recorded?
Huh?
Was that recorded?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Akiva likes when I read slowly. ומעמידין להן אפוטרופין לתת לגבות מגופו תנאי. That in previously we said that the muad make the apotropos when the ox became muad. Now we're going to say it's a machlokat tanaim even when we're tam. Tanya, shor shit harishu ba'alav, an ox whose owner become deaf. Vinish chatu ba'alav, where the owner went majnun. V'shalachu ba'alav nidiyam, where the owners went overseas and the ox scored. Yehuda ben Nikusa amar sumchus harehu bitamuto. If it's a tam, it remains in a tam, it does not change. Ad she'idu bo b'fnei ba'alim, until the witnesses testify in front of the owner. No, you make an appointer, an advisor, a representative to take care of it, and you testify in front of them. You don't need the owner themselves. Now, what happens? Right? So the chashu gets fixed, whether he started hearing, he became normal, or he became an adult, or the owner came back. Even if it became a mu'ad while they were incapacitated, it can return back to its tam's state until he says retestify in front of them. No, it stays mu'ad. I'm reading this. My harehu bitamutu the kamar sumchus. So what does it mean? Sumchus says, oh, it remains the tam. If you mean that it's not become mu'ad, even though it gored, but the second part says it returns to the tam. Which means it does become muad. What does it mean it stays a tam? It stays entirely the property of the damager. We don't reduce the ownership by paying tam damages. They're only half and half. Therefore, we see by a tam, you do not require to pay damages through representatives. You make this agent from Betin, and you accept testimony for them. Therefore, you say that we can accept it via the shliach. So we see to machlokot tonight. What's the second part? Machlokot arguing on. Right. So whether or not when the guy comes back, or the guy became normal, or the guy started to hear, etc. What's that machlokah based off of? That means are we able? Does the change of jurisdiction change anything? Does it muad stay muad, or now since it's like a new owner because the guy either came back or changed back to normal or an adult? That's the difference. New jurisdiction, new time. This says no. If it's a muad, it stays a muad. I don't care what happened. Shor chashu shenagach. If a shore of a chashu that gored, Yaakov Mishlam Chatzin says you to pay half damages. Yaakov my bit. What do you mean Yaakov pays half damages? Who's Yaakov? What's going on over here? Ella Emma Yaakov Omer Yaakov says Mishlam Chatzin Yaakov says you pay half damages. Very interesting. I never saw it before. This is like what we do. Reuven Shimon. They threw the rabbi's name in there. I'm asking, what's the halacha? Ibitam Pshita. If it's a tam, of course it's paying half. Everybody agrees that you pay half damages by a tam. If it's case of muad, if there's a guarding over it, you're patur because you did your job. If you didn't properly watch over it, you pay full. Why would you pay half? Right, what's the chidush in the case that you pay half? That's like me telling you right now, on the seventh day is Shabbat. I talk about, what's this chidush thing? If it's tam peh, what's the case of chatinezeh? The chidush, what's the chidush if it's a regular case? Referring to case of muad, where you're supposed to pay full. He did a bare minimum guarding. He didn't do a good, the best guarding. He holds like a says, the tam part of a muad remains in its place. Meaning, even if you're patur in a case of muad, which is a case where you watched it to the minimum watching, then you're patur. However, a tam is chayav when you Chati Nezek, even if you watched it correctly. So over here, even if you watched it correctly, you're patur from the muad, but it just you drop down to the next level of half damages. One opinion. And he holds a kribida also. The Amar Muad Saghile Vishmina Bechutahu, the Muad is good enough with a lesser guarding. Right? Most opinions hold that no, if it's a Muad, you know your animal's a Majnun case, you better put it in an iron fence. But over here is referring to the opinion that holds you don't have to do it. Misal Kabnani also holds like the Amri Ma'amidina Putrapus that you can hire an Aputrapus to collect Hatzi Nezek. Right? So these three halachot, these three rabbis combine into this bright top. Okay, Amar Bayan. Pligi. Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi don't disagree. Batanya Machloket. Shor Shacherish Shahashu Shinagach. The ox gored. Rabbi Yehuda Machayev. Rabbi says Chayav. Rabbi Yaakov Omer Hatin Nezekud Mishlam has to pay half damages. So we see clearly Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi disagree in a bright top. So how can we say the whole happy family, three rabbis together, if we see two of them argue? Bar Ula Mash Mechayev Rabbi Piresh Rabbi Yaakov. No. When Rabbi Yehuda said chayav, right? Rabbi Yehuda mechayev, Rabbi Yaakov mer chatzin nezek. Whatever Rabbi Yehuda said chayav, Rabbi Yaakov is saying that's what it is. He's explaining what Rabbi Yehuda said chayav. Rabbi Yehuda mechayev what? Rabbi Yaakov mer chatzin nezek. He's explaining what the payment is. Ulabay damar pelig and according to Beis says machloket. My pelig, what's the machloket guarding on? Yani if it's a tam and a muad will be the case. Marla chacham askinan muad v'lo nafle klal. It's case of muad and you did not watch it at all. So why chatzin nezek? Yaakov savalak Rabbi Yehuda hada. He agrees with Rabbi Yehuda in one regard. Upligi alade b'chada hani disagrees with him on one. Savar Rabbi Yehuda he agrees with him in one halacha. The ilu Rabbi Yehuda savar tzat hamut mikumamed that you can hold it, you can pay chatzi nezek even in a case of muad. He agrees with that. Upligi alade b'chada he disagrees with something else. The ilu Rabbi Yehuda savar ma'amedin lehapotar post latam the got megufo. He holds that in the case of tam, the court does hire someone to pay chatzi nezek. Rabbi Yaakov Savar en Ma'amidin. Rabbi Yaakov says no chatzi nezek for an apotropos, which means in the case of muad, Rabbi Yaakov holds you can only pay muad. And therefore you only pay half of the muad because the first half is via tam. Okay. Amar Rav bar Abaye le Ravina. Bishlam Allah Abaye Amar Plegi Bish Shapir. Makes sense according to Abaye that there's a machloket between Rabbi and Yaakov. It makes sense. Because according to Abaye, he holds that we do not hold up any aputrapos. However, the Rava, according to Rava, who holds they agree. Instead of saying the case of the Braitaz, case of Mu'ad, Nukma Bitam, establish the case as a Tam, right? If Rabbi Yaakov holds that you can make if you were to say that Rabbi Yaakov holds that you make a shliach, aputrapos, an agent, in the case of Tam, even by a chashu to pay half, then it could just be saying chatzin nezek by a tam. What do you have to say? No, it's a case of muad, and you're only paying half of the muad. Why are you going so far? Say, okay, apotropos tam chatzin nezek goes perfect. Why do you have to go in hoops to explain the Mishnah? Even according to Rabbi who holds that you need a top-notch iron guarding, you can say it's a case where he did not such a good guarding. He didn't do the best guarding with the iron fence. Either Yaakov, even you hold like Yaakov, who holds that you can even do a wood fence, a minor guarding. He can establish the case that he did not guard it at all. Therefore, he says that those cases you be chayav chatzin nezek. And how do you know that you can hold? Yaakov holds that a tam can be used even with a minimal wooden fence. Whether it's a tam or muad, if you have a minimum guarding and the damages, piturin, you're patur. Right, so you see from him that a tam and muad, you can do a minor guarding. If that's the case, then what would be the chidush? That you'd have a case of a tam, you'd hire a shliach, right? What would be the chidush? Meaning, if you're just telling me that it's not about the payment, because the payment is chatzin nezek because of what the tam, then what's the chidush of the Mishnah? Teach you that you hire a putrapos? We already know that. All right, so now we're back to stage one. Ela Marley has explained himself. Hachi Kamar. Rava meant to say as follows. Chada de itbe tarti ta'ama. Rabbi Yaakov teaches one halacha that has two reasons. Meaning, a mu'ad that's owned by a chashu pay chatzin nezek. Why? Because the mu'ad only needs right? And therefore, why that reasoning is split in like a fork into two different reasons. Number one, a muad only needs a minor guarding like a wooden fence, and the tam second halacha is that the tam is always chayav. So even in the case of muad that you're patur, you would have to pay chatinezek for it, and if you need to pay, you can hire the apotropos. A little more. Ravina says no different explanation between Rav Yaakov and Rav Yehuda is the difference is Reshut Mishana Ikmanei the halacha would be different between them. Machloka between them regarding a change of jurisdiction. Right, if the guy came back, if the Mijnun case became better, if the kid became an adult, etc. If the act was first in muad, then it pakah hacheresh, then if the deaf mute guy became normal, the Majnun case became normal, or the minor became an adult, at that point, it's as if it's a transfer of ownership. Rabbi Yehuda holds that it stays in muad, and therefore full damages. And in Rabbi Yaakov holds no new jurisdiction, considered new owner, new animal as well, and therefore it's chatinezek. And that's why Rabbi Yaakov would hold this case is referring to chatinezek, and that's the chidush. The chidush is reshut. Right? He has the smoothest answer instead of jumping into hoops as to what the Mishnah was. Very simple, chatinezek, because it was a change in reshut. Okay, we'll stop here.